Behold, the MESA 400M Grill by Monument Grills, an American-based company. I wanted to use all the function of the grill in one cook. Marinated tequila chicken, homemade fire roasted salsa, and homemade queso, all using the MESA 400M Grill by Monument Grills. Link in the description box. We start with some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We're going to make a marinade for the chicken, and that starts with some avocado oil. Grapeseed or olive oil will be fine too for this. Then season it with some kosher salt, a good dusting of ancho chili powder, a couple tablespoons of garlic paste or chopped garlic, some granulated onion, about 3 or 4 teaspoons worth. Exact measurements are never necessary with this sort of thing. A good little pile of some ground cumin. I tend to go heavy on cumin because I like it that way. Roughly hack up 1 bunch of cilantro. It doesn't have to be finely chopped, just toss it all in. A dash of ground coriander. I usually go at least half the ratio for the coriander to whatever else is going in. A little bit of dark chili powder, just because I felt like it. And now the twist. Tequila. Gotta get this chicken drunk before we cook it, and not too much. This can really overpower everything if you get carried away. Just about a shot or so. And my favorite way to kick up the flavor, some very quality margarita mix. You definitely want to add this if you might have used too much tequila in it. This will save you in the end. I'm also using the juice of 1 lime. If I hadn't used the margarita mix, I would definitely use at least 2 whole limes. And lastly, a small drizzle of honey. Now use those paws and mix everything together. Plastic wrap with all the air pushed out of the bowl. This goes into the fridge for at least a couple hours. I let mine go for 6 and was very happy that I did. Make sure to mix it up every couple hours while it's marinating. Let's make a salsa for our tacos. We've got some poblanos, 3 jalapenos, 2 long hots, 3 tomatoes, and a big onion, peeled with the root still on. Sliced down through the root to cut in half. That root will prevent the onion from falling apart. You can pretty much add whatever you want to the salsa, whatever other kind of peppers you want. If you want a more red color in the end, then you will need to use more tomatoes than this, but I don't like my salsa to be too tomato heavy. Now off to the MESA 400M Grill we go. Since the grates are brand new, I didn't need to oil them up before adding the peppers to it. However, prior to shooting this video, I did wipe out the inside with a wet towel and turn the grill on high with the lid closed for about 20 minutes to burn off any residue oil from the manufacturing, just to make sure it's extremely clean before the first use. Once it's all on the grill on medium heat, close the lid. After a couple minutes, we're already starting to get some nice color on everything. We're looking for that blistering on the peppers. We want that on all sides. The more you cook the produce, the less crunchy your salsa will be. But the more you cook them, the more intense the flavor you will get. So the choice is yours how much you want to cook them. I did want to point out the cool window that this grill has built into the lid. Easy to keep an eye on things in there while it's cooking with the lid closed. Once everything was cooked to my liking, the onion was the last thing to be done. So I had moved everything onto one side and only kept the heat on under the onion directly. It only needs a few more minutes anyways. All the veggies were looking perfect and the grill cooked them extremely fast and even throughout the whole grill. To finish the salsa, there's only a few things left to do. The stems all need to be removed on the tomatoes and peppers. I did throw in a bunch of cilantro too. It's all going into the blender. Tomatoes went in whole to not lose any juices. The rest got cut up into smaller pieces for even blending. I ran out of room in the blender, so only half of the onion will go in. The other half will be set aside for a few minutes. We do need to layer some flavors too though, so in goes some garlic paste. You could roast a bulb of garlic on the grill with everything else like we just did, FYI, but it's easier this way for today. Then some lime juice. I started with the majority of 2 limes. After a quick first blend, everything is now broken down, so the other half of the onion goes in, along with some ancho chili powder, salt, some cumin, and some oregano. Blend it again and then taste. Remember, when you're tasting, this needs to sit for a while for all the flavors to come through. It didn't need much, just a little brightness, so I added the rest of the juice of those 2 limes. It seemed slightly thick and I could feel a bit of grittiness from the spices, so that's an easy texture fix. Just a tiny bit of water. Then the texture was perfect. Let that sit as long as you can before use in the refrigerator. It's always best on the 2nd or 3rd day. It will keep in the fridge for about a week. Since I'm testing out the functionality of this grill, I wanted to use the stove burner on it. And since we're making tacos, I thought a queso. Starting with some cheese of your choice, mine being Monterey Jack. Shred that up. Keep in mind that some cheeses melt very nicely and some do not. I'm going to show a cool trick on how to make the cheese sauce even when using a cheese that doesn't want to melt smoothly. I took a jalapeno and minced that up. I took the seeds out only because who wants seeds in a smooth, creamy sauce? Back to the MESA 400 stove burner with a pot. Some milk goes in and let that heat up. Make sure you do this on low heat. A double boiler works best, but I can rush it here only because of the trick that I'm about to show you here in a second. Start adding your cheese and stirring, little handfuls at a time, and don't add in more until the first is melted. I tossed in the jalapenos raw. I kept adding more cheese and stirring. Doing this outside in a slow manner you're supposed to is very challenging. You don't believe me? Then go ahead and try it. Managing a balanced, very low heat is hard to do in this situation. By the time I got it all added in, the oils are starting to separate from the solids of the cheese, and that will result in a lumpy, nasty mess. It might be hard to see on camera, but this would not have turned into a smooth sauce unless I cheated using this, xanthan gum. You don't need much. This is probably a bit more than I actually needed, but the trick is to whisk very fast and sprinkle it in slow. Then turn the heat off and continue whisking every couple minutes. You could also use a cornstarch slurry for this, but I like to try out new things when I can, and lately I've been messing around with xanthan gum. In the end, we had a nice smooth sauce to top our tacos with. Time to get grilling our tequila chicken. This grill is very easy to use and gets hot really fast. I have it hooked up to a propane tank. For me, it grilled everything very evenly. I kept it around 400 degrees with the lid closed. It can go a lot hotter than that though. After flipping the chicken, I basted them with the remaining marinade. I did that a couple times. It only took about 20 minutes to grill the chicken to my liking. Was looking for little bits of char and that nice color on that marinade that's now doubling as a glaze. I can't tell you how fantastic the flavor was on this. One of the best tasting chicken dishes ever, and I would be happy to have just eaten the chicken by itself and not in the tacos. Now let's finish these things, starting with some toasted tortillas. If I was doing this all outdoors, you could just throw the tortillas on the grill for about 20 seconds on each side. Some of that wonderful margarita chicken, some of our extremely fresh fire roasted salsa. After 2 days, it developed a flavor you must try with some chips. Then a bit of lovely queso sauce, some crisp shredded lettuce, and a few dollops of sour cream to finish it off. These were so ridiculously good, I can't even describe it. It packed a flavor punch, and that tequila margarita chicken is out of this world. All components were excellent, and I highly recommend the chicken marinade if you have never tried anything like this. It would work great on pork as well. Huge thanks to Monument Grills for sending me this awesome grill to test out for you guys. It's a great grill to keep in your backyard for fast, easy cooking. There's a link in the description box if you wanted to get your hands on one of these. I'll definitely be using this often for all sorts of cooking. Until next time, everyone, treat yourself right, cook yourself something good, and I'll catch you all on the next video. Thanks for watching.